This is Blerd is the New Black with your boy Dre.
Mark, a.k.a. Lid Harrington.
And your boy Aristotle Jones, a.k.a. Penis Pump Wilson.
You never get tired of that.
I tried to time the pauses like as eloquently as possible.
Well done.
Thanks, man.
So, all right. So today we're gonna kick it off with. Actually, I want to talk about that video that's been going around with my dude who was talking about, what was that guy's name? It was like Tony Rugby or something like that. The dude who was like, yo, if I'm gonna jump, my man gonna jump with me. If we gonna shoot, my man gonna shoot with me. And then when he said, well, if I'm gonna die, my boy's gonna have to die with me. That was the ultimate record scratch. Wait, what?
It's just good to see. That shit was amazing. Funniest thing I've seen in the last 2
His face was so. But did you see him going through the whole thing? Like, my dude was nodding with everything. Like, yo, if you gotta shoot somebody, you gotta shoot somebody. If you gotta jump somebody, you gotta, like, his whole mannerism. And then when he got to die with him, and like he paused, like, wait, I don't think I heard that right. And then he started again, like, wait, what?
Yeah, he was focused on that blunt the whole time, just nodding. Yeah, whatever that dude say.
Yeah.
I can't wait till we get out the studio to roll his blunt. Hold on. Did this nigga say die? What? Who gonna die for who? I ain't die. What?
His reaction wasn't even that animated. It was like, oh shit, I'm gonna have to find a new job. Cause I mean, I'll jump a nigga or two, but die? Yeah, thank you for the opportunity, but here's your chain back. Here's a cell phone that goes with being part of your hype team. Whatever else, because dying wasn't part of the contract. Sorry, sir.
That's the most selfish shit I've seen. Like, he said, yeah, we gotta rob a nigga, we'll shoot a nigga. Oh, me die? Niggas is crazy. Well, I draw the line, all right? We was cool. I have to die? No, I'm not dying.
Yeah, like I said before, my name is not Jesus Christ, nigga, or Jesus of Nazareth, whatever one you want to use. I did not sign up to die for anybody. Shit.
That ain't my job.
Yeah, but I do like but what I took from that, though, is a shift in the culture, though, as far as the hip-hop, because, like, real talk, like, years ago, you could have never gotten away with saying, nah, I'm not going to do that. Like, there's this weird kind of loyalty that you're supposed to throw your life away when your friends want to throw their lives away. Yeah. But the ultimate, if your friend jumps off a bridge, you're going to jump with him, sure. Now motherfuckers like, oh no, I value my life. I don't know what this dumb nigga's doing, but I'm not about to die. No, thank you.
Well, so, it's growth, man. I think it's evolving. Like, a lot of people have issues with has become because, like, the kids have it. But if you really look at it, these dudes are not really talking about killing people that much. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, a lot of the culture is shifting to having a good time. Now, it may be with, you know, drugs that are being taken by leisure, you know, and you may say, hey, you shouldn't be taking these prescription drugs, but the issue is bigger than that. It's why these companies making these drugs that are hurting people more than they're helping them in the long run. But that has nothing to do with these kids. The point with the kids is that, you know, as far as with the music, man, even with, like, let's say Lonzo Ball, right, a basketball player, young dude, his girlfriend is pregnant, he's been with her 4 years, he can't wait to marry her. Like, these younger guys are happy to be in committed relationships. It's not cool to be out here fucking around anymore. Like, most of the rappers that are in 2021 are publicly in, like, monogamous relationships.
Yeah, that's weird. I am actually completely against that. Actually, I don't think anybody that young should be making that kind of commitment. I think that, like if you want to stick with one girl, I guess that's cool. But I'm sorry. One of the big things, at least for me, I know I had to get a lot of shit out of my system before I could commit to any one person. I think that's real. Like, I think that's just part of your genetic makeup. I think that's part of what we are as men. This idea that you were ready to settle down at like 21, that's some crazy talk. Like, think about it. Like, who you were fucking with at 21? Can you still imagine yourself with them right now?
She had ass. She had all ass. I mean, she still got my name tatted on her. I probably could still work it out. But the point
Absolutely.
Hold on, whoa. You got your name tatted on her body?
Young OG over here, you feel me? But we're not talking, that's not the type of podcast.
Wow. No, please, Kid Bro. You remember my ex, the one, I don't want to be shouting her name, she wanted to do that. She wanted to put it on her lower back. At the time, I was afraid of her father because he was a cop, and I would have like, yeah, please. She wanted to do that.
I put it on her thyroid gland.
Jesus. She neck tattooed it. Oh, all right.
Y'all sit there like, what do you think is going on with anatomy book? Listen, there, where is it?
Respect.
Yeah, nah.
Yeah. It's like it goes back to that whole thing. I feel like some of these young dudes really need guidance from somebody older and better than them, because it's like, yo, y'all had your pops, man, and I ain't gonna lie, like, you know, from the outside looking in, even though your dad was really good to me and my brother and all that, I was kind of envious because you had somebody that was willing to guide you, be like, hey, do this, don't do that. Like, these are the steps that you should be taking to become a better man. And I feel like some of these young dummies don't have that, because no grown-ass man is going to tell someone 20 to settle down for life. That's fucking crazy. That is like, that is a clear lack of guidance and someone saying, wait a minute.
To be
you
fair,
think
though,
you're going to be in love with it?
To be fair, I don't know about y'all, but like, just like how much of that shit I wouldn't even listen to. Because again, you at that age where you're hard-headed and you wouldn't, you don't listen to nobody anyway, you know?
That's fair, too.
I think it's safer, even if this type of lifestyle is promoted, you know. I think it's safer just because I remember being in high school and seeing that video they forced us to watch where the girl opened her legs and it looked like a bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich. And they was teaching us. I'm telling you, it still sticks with me to this day. And just living, that shit gross. And just living that lifestyle, bro, especially with all the drama. And I think it's better if people kind of stick with one person, just because what's the point? You know, like, listen, y'all know my past, right? So I'm clearly talking something much different than what I lived. And, you know, in the long run, I'm just blessed, bro. Like, I stayed out of a lot of situations that could have been really terrible for me. But I would say somebody, if you
ain't the only one, nigga. My middle name is Pregnancy Scare, please. Like, it definitely has a lot of Russian roulette going on. I definitely feel you on that. But that, again, but I feel like going through those experiences, not necessarily, yeah, you got to be safe and everything, but I think the rough thing is, like, yo, when you get to a certain age, you're going to feel like I just don't believe that you can commit that heavily at 20. I just don't. I think you can commit like that. If you're not talking about having a girlfriend, you're talking about marriage.
Listen, like, at any age, a marriage cannot work, and it's probable to not. It's more probable to not work. I don't care if you get married at 40 or 20; the numbers are against you. So what the hell is the difference?
Well, actually, statistically, the numbers are more against you. Like, whenever we hear those numbers of half the marriages fail, the bulk of those marriages are when people get married in their 20s. Like, actually, after 30, your likelihood of staying with the same person increases dramatically. So
it increases. Are we talking about more than 60, 70%?
Yeah, actually, like, I think it's somewhere around 70 or 80. If you get married after, I think the numbers are around 35.
40 to get married?
No, like 30, 35. I think that's a good time to, you know, that you know yourself and you're not as easily distracted. Like, there's no extra, there's no women out there that's going to distract me away from my family goals. I found a person I want to be with. I found a person I want to build with. And I feel like I couldn't have been this committed at 27, but I can be this committed at 37. It wasn't going to happen. It's like,
but is it safe to play Russian roulette from 20 to 30? I mean, you can't, listen, I'm just saying if someone says, hey, you know what, I have somebody that I like for right now, I'd rather be with them instead of out here running around. Because, dude, it's not a good thing. Like, I know that it's always promoted and it's probably like been like fun and stuff, but bro,
it is fun. It wasn't fun to you? Bro, it was fun to me.
It was fucking fun to me.
It didn't turn out good for them. You know what I'm saying? We're the success stories. But we have to look at the odds, and we beat the fucking odds. Because most of
you're right.
Who grew up around us, this shit is trash. Not that they're lying. Trash. Right?
You're right.
We're saying, hey, it worked for us. But if most kids were out doing what we're doing, it's not going to turn out well. They're going to be the dudes that will pass by and go, yeah, that nigga Rodney. Boy, I knew that nigga Rodney wasn't going to be shit. And Rodney was shit. Like, that's
truly God. That was truly God's plan B. So I definitely didn't have to.
But
I didn't have to deal with it.
I can see being older. It makes sense because even myself personally, like, I definitely know now, what's a better fit for me long term than when I was 20. What the fuck I was at 20. So definitely gotta go.
Yeah. I just think that, look, man, you know how I feel about that Ball family. Like, you turned me around on a lot of things. I'll be very honest about that. Like, I definitely shared more opinions with Mark in the beginning. Like, why is this motherfucker so loud and all of this? And then now I'm just like, yo, why shouldn't he be? Especially if the plan is working out. And more importantly, it's a cultural shift that, hey, I don't need somebody else to give me permission to be fucking great and to sell myself. So yeah, I'm with it. I think it's cool. But sometimes when I look at other decisions like marriage, 21.
Well, hold on. I'll give you another example. And this is spoken for me personally because luckily I have someone that I live my life almost parallel to. They're only like 2 months apart from me. And let's just say he popped up and it came out that his girlfriend was pregnant. Everybody screamed it was the biggest mistake in the world. Everybody said it was the worst thing. It's going to ruin his life, this and that. Flash, 9 years later, he's the most beautiful kid that I've ever seen. And I don't have one of those.
Are we talking about the same Connecticut dude?
Absolutely.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but see,
what
I'm saying is at that time, it may look like, oh, that's terrible. They shouldn't be doing that. But fast forward, nobody would take that back. So it's all about perspective. So me having had all that fun, it's like, shit, well, you know what? We're better off doing that stuff. So that's just like the conversation about greatness and good. Everything's about perspective. Everything's subjective. You know what I'm saying? Like, so even if they want to have a kid, they want to get married, that might be dope for them right now. It may not work later, but shit. Ain't nothing else guaranteed.
That's fair. That's fair. I guess, you know what? You're right. I'm being jealous right now because that's like, why fuck did I have millions of dollars at that age to be fucking around with? That's probably part of this, if I gotta be honest. Like, I wish I was worth some mills. But then again, I would have died. I said, like, that's always
hell yeah.
I'd rather him be with one girl and at least try, because if he's out here with millions running around, someone's gonna die.
That's like always when we talk. We have the Bitcoin conversation. If me and Mark had invested like the right amount of money at the time, like that we were talking about it, there's no fucking way that I wouldn't have spent it all on fucking girls and hotels, cars, and drugs. There's absolutely, the only way is if Jesus himself came from heaven and said, nah, nigga, don't do that. Otherwise, that's just what...
We friends, and you should be shit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So even with shit money, I was still doing dumb shit. So I can't imagine if I was like 29, sitting on 40 mil and not acting like a fool. So yeah, you know what? You're probably right. That's it.
I think that changes things too, because marriage, bro, a lot of people, that let's say Bitcoin goes absolutely insane, right? And all the altcoins go crazy. Of course, it's a matter of time. But at that time, is oh God, I don't know if we should talk about this publicly. Is marriage as appealing? Do you think that has to do with it too, as far as like the statistic on marriage? I would like to see that as far as like the statistics based on class, as far as like wealth. You get what I'm saying?
For me, yes, because I'm at a different point. Like, I'm with someone that I want to form a family with. I mean, our financial circumstances right now are, above average, and it works well for us. But if it getting better only increases things for us. Like, it's not like I'm gonna get money and be like, all right, like, who else can I have instead of her? No, she's like the greatest fit that I've ever found in my life. So more money doesn't all that means is that my kids have a cushier life, and I might have a bigger bunker. That's really about it. It ain't.
Here we go.
Hey, you know how I get down. Prepping, baby, survivalist.
Whoa. We need a bigger bunker. See, this nigga, you a color nigga out to the wolves, and you have to do money, and you all type of high notes.
I mean, well, I'm just saying, but yeah, money at this point. But you're right. Like if it had been like 10, 15 years ago, yeah, you'd be looking for bigger, better, more. That's like, you know, the attitude you have, and especially who you're around. I think also contributes to that, because most of my friends are dads now. Like all my best friends are like dads are married. Like there's nobody out here in these streets like that. I mean, I think there's one dude, but we silently judge him and have discussions like, yo, you want to talk to him? Because I feel for this dude. But, you know, whatever. We're men.
I feel for anybody, too, that's 40 years old still on the damn block.
Yeah, man. Not even on the block, just still out there meeting women indiscriminately. It's like, yo, don't get me wrong, sex is a fun thing, but I feel like family building, legacy building, that stuff is more fun to me at this point in my life, man. I find more enjoyment hanging out with my friends and family and spending time with my nieces and nephews and all other stuff than just fuck with. And the funny thing about it, though, being older, you're more appealing to chicks now, which I find so fascinating. Because girls, like younger girls who, when I was their age, who wouldn't even fucking look at me, like hit me up or slide off messages in my DM all crazy. I'm like, this is like just having a beard with some gray in it. It's like, oh, that nigga wise. Let me see what he can tell me. And start talking to me.
Make sure that if you ever meet Idris Elba, make sure you thank him forever for that shit.
Real talk, yeah. Like, so yeah, it's mad, but that stuff doesn't even have any effect. That's why I was like, I always feel for dudes who didn't have. But you know, like, but it goes back to what we were just talking about, though, Chuck. Because you know what? If you don't get it out in your system, then you have a circumstance or a situation like a Tiger Woods. That motherfucker went bonkers when he started having fame and money, because he didn't get. Because unfortunately for him, nobody gave a shit about golf before him. So him being the best golfer at Stanford was not getting him no ass. He was just that geeky motherfucker playing golf. It's not until he got that publicly noted $40 million contract that girls started looking at him, and then right after that, that dummy got with and married the first pretty girl that was willing to fuck with him. So he didn't get it out of his system. And then what does he do? Later on, he gets caught out there with 13. I mean, actually, I think it was way more than 13 women. Those are just the ones who came forward.
Exactly.
But
listen, I'm not going to say Tiger Woods. I think that's completely different. First of all, we all know Tiger Woods ain't getting no ass till he at least has won 8 Masters, nigga. He was right. Okay?
Yeah.
So he the only way he could get it out was first by being famous, and that took him. How old was he before he really got like crazy famous?
Well, again, he got famous after that $40 million contract. I remember that. So that was like 96, 97. So he was probably like 22, 23.
Oh yeah. He was wild and getting married that early. But see, I feel like see, let's say these little rappers, let's say 21. They probably been fucking since they was 15, right? 16.
Probably, yeah, because basketball's a different
Tiger lost his virginity after 8 Masters. Getting it out till he had already had a Nike thing. Like he was then, it was like, oh, this little nigga got a penis, cool. Like that's when my homies stepped up.
Actually, I heard he has a hog too. I heard that motherfucker's packing a fucking. I'm just saying. I respect. I have to salute a fellow cocksman. So good for him. Like he
brought his own golf club today.
I'm just saying. Like, what's her face? Rachel Yucatan was talking about how her insides hurt. I'm like, salute, sir. Salute.
He's in there using his drive.
Yeah, but yeah, that poor, but you're right though. I think there's something to be said. Probably like their situation was different, being like from a basketball family, and basketball is a completely different sport
you're fucking on
than
college,
golf.
High school, they're all on you. Golf,
Yeah.
You gonna do my calculus homework or no?
Like, nobody cares until it's like, wait, he got a deal for how much money? Oh shit! God, fuck. But even then, that poor dude, he just got with the first pretty girl. Cause I always thought that was kind of odd, and this is why I always say when girls try to tell me that men are shallow, I think women are far more shallow. Because ain't no woman worth $40 million is gonna mess with a male nanny. But dudes do that shit all the time. We don't care. You a nanny, you a waitress, whatever. It's like, you cute.
Nah, you mine. Yeah. That's what you are. I got you.
Exactly, yeah. Fuck your job. Like, let me go get you a nice house and get you a staff. I go, like, yeah, they have a staff. Like, I always wonder how they come to these numbers where women end up getting half, because it's like, she has to, she put in all this work with the kids. If anybody should be getting that, is the nannies that were taking care of the kids, not whoever she is, the apartment that they stayed in while they were in the womb. That one doesn't get to claim half.
They know for a fact that they know for a fact if they give Lupe $1 million, they ain't never gonna see her ass again.
Who's Lupe? Oh, I was like, I thought yeah, we just shifted to Lupe Fiasco? All right, I get what you mean now. I don't say, I haven't heard that name in a minute.
This nigga want to die with his ass, man. Completely went off.
So, yeah, I was like, wait, what?
Yeah. About Lupe Fiasco.
See?
I love Lupe.
Yeah,
but
Maria, Lourdes,
there you go.
Damn names you think of, whatever. Fine, I fucked up the
I don't even know what the hell is going on.
Sorry, guys. I have a bad habit of doing that. All right, so shifting gears, I wanted to also talk about that article that you posted about mental health in the Black community. Very good article. I think it's really cool that Charlamagne the God and your boy Kanye West was sitting there talking about something that's very, I don't know, just something that just doesn't get enough attention. And interestingly enough, you would think the people who have been oppressed the heaviest, I think we're running neck and neck with the Native Americans, but let's just say for argument's sake, we are the most oppressed in this country, and
it's our
we
podcast.
don't seek out.
Who was the most oppressed? When they get a podcast, they can say they was the most oppressed. I'm not arguing.
Touche. Touche. So it's interesting how we don't promote mental health in our own community, because we fucking need that shit. Sometimes you need to, like today at lunch, I was talking to somebody about how when they see white people coming towards them on the street now, they cross the street, and they don't cross the street because they're afraid of the white people. They're afraid of making them afraid, and that they're going to end up calling the cops because they're afraid. So now everything is avoid white people at all costs, because we don't know if this situation might become a misunderstanding. And, I think that's a little bit too far, but I get it. I'm not going to judge him for thinking that, because it's like, think about how, that fucking, what was it, the Starbucks thing that happened a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
When you find out the details of that shit, Shorty, the manager of that place, she called the cops and didn't even talk to them. It wasn't even like she went over to them and hey, you guys aren't ordering. I'm going to need you to leave. She just called the police because they were sitting there too long. She didn't want to confront them, so the police had to come there and confront them because she felt uncomfortable. That's where the fuck we're at.
Yep.
So knowing that shit happens, of course, it's going to make you feel like, all right, I need to talk to somebody before I lose my fucking mind out here.
Yeah. You're that they're supposed to be closing, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you got it, bro.
No.
Oh, I was going to say, I heard that they're supposed to be temporarily closing 8,000 stores or restaurants, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And I would love to know where these 8,000 stores are. I'm guessing that they all got to be in the South and the Midwest. But
no, they're all of them. No, I think this is 8,000. No, this is 8,000. This is, I think, the total of Starbucks shops that they have in the U.S., and they're doing it for racial sensitivity training. I
know why they do it.
I don't know how.
Okay.
Do you think that's a bad thing, though? I don't. Look, if what we get out of this is that people, because I don't think you're really going to shift anybody's mind that way, but I think if it makes employees think twice about doing that kind of shit, then it's worth it. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, all right, I don't want to overreact and call the cops because I don't want to put myself in trouble, so let me, like, slide back. Because it's really fucked up. Like, I don't know if y'all go to Starbucks. I go there all the time to write, to just even, like, you know, think about stuff, or even when I'm doing work for the podcast. I love going to Starbucks. I have my coffee. The ambiance is cool. It's a little bit, like I always find a friend to talk to sometimes. Like, you know, if I want to, like, strike up a conversation with people, I love Starbucks. So, and because I go to the Starbucks in my own community, I'm there often enough, I guess I have the privilege of familiarity, because this happened in Philly. This is like a major city, so I'm sure they didn't know those guys or they'd never seen them before. So, you know, I hate the fact that, like, you know, people can have to go through something like that. Like, they're just sitting there when everybody does that. Because I have many times gone into fucking Starbucks and not bought a fucking thing. I just hang out there on my laptop. Actually, in fact, I come in there with outside food. Like, that's the biggest fuck you.
Oh.
Come in there with my own juice.
You should have called them on you. Jesus.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'd have been like, get that nigga out of there.
So, how do you feel about the mental health stuff, Chuck?
I think it's great that, you know, this stuff is getting a lot more publicity. It definitely didn't start with Charlamagne and Kanye, but there's like a lot of pro athletes like DeMar DeRozan, who plays for the Toronto Raptors, Kevin Love, who plays for the Cleveland Cavaliers with LeBron. You know, guys are coming out saying, hey, you know, I have anxiety, I have depression, I've always had this battle, and it's, you know, it's just good to see people come out, you know, that have conquered, obviously, you know, major accolades and done a lot of things. Still come out and say, hey, I've done it all while going through this. You know what I'm saying? You're not alone, and I know how that feels. And it's just good, you know, because even the most positive people are the happiest people. Everybody has a down day. You can't experience good days without knowing what a bad day is, you know? So.
But I want to play devil's advocate a little bit on some of this shit, though. Like, sometimes when I hear about rich people, because again, like, the reason why we're talking about this is because a lot of rich people are talking about being depressed. And it is really hard for me to get into the mental space to believe that, like, I can't be in control of millions of dollars and be sad. I don't know how that works.
That's not true.
No, well,
see, the thing is, it's impossible. Like you said, you can't get in that headspace because we haven't been in that position, you know. But it's, bro, it's trust me. There's not a lot of these people are strong. A lot of these people are really strong people. You don't get to the positions that they've gotten without being strong, right?
Right.
So it's something that's crippling regardless of what your bank account looks like. I know that sitting where you are, probably somebody who doesn't have many mental health issues. It's just like, shit, I'm good now, so you adding some money to it? Yeah. What's the crash flow?
And you know what, to add to what he was saying, like, it's one, I mean, aside from even being in that situation, but even, you know, you take two or three people that are thrown into that situation and each will react completely differently to it. Sure. So, I mean, hey, more power to the people that can handle that shit, you know. But just like, who was it? Tracy Morgan? Running down the street naked? No, Martin Lawrence.
I am a Jedi.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of 30 Rock. No, but Martin Lawrence running down the street, you know, running down naked in the highway, waving a gun, talking about they're going to get me. People break, you know. I mean, everybody's got, you know, I think to an extent, everybody's got some degree of issue, you know. But whatever the fuck it is, it's mental. Everything that we see and experience is mental, but we all react to it differently. So, I mean, it is good that this shit's going on, and I mean, it's long overdue. And if you gotta go to the whole role model shit to get people like LeBron James to come out and say, just like Chuck was saying, you know, you're not alone. That shit wakes people up. Like, okay, I'm not the only one going through this. Even people that are successful, like, you know, LeBron James, handle it. And here's another thing too: depression is a motherfucker, dude. Ask Robin Williams. He had all the money in the world. He loved what he did, and he had family and all that.
Robin, he offed himself though because he lost most of his money during because of divorces and stuff like that. It wasn't he's sitting on millions of dollars. Like he was in retirement and had to go back into work to do a shitty TV show with Sarah Michelle Gellar that just fucking sucked.
That's
and
not
got
worth.
hold
on, dude. That's not worth you killing yourself. Now, if you got some kind of depression and you're not taking into consideration, number one, yeah, you may have lost a little bit of money, but you're fucking Robin Williams, and you know you can get it back. Plus, you got a family. There's a lot of shit to consider before you wrap some rope around your neck and jump. And I'm telling you, got depression.
There's been plenty of stock market guys who have bunches of money and could have got it back, but when they lose it, fuck this world, and they jump off that building.
So do you believe there's no such thing as depression, though?
No, like I have such an issue with that because I get it. Like I understand that we're biochemical beings, where certain chemical imbalances can cause like certain reactions. So if you don't have enough serotonin going on, or if you have low levels of dopamine or whatever, like that, like you're off in some way, it makes you more susceptible to things. Here's my issue. Like here's my thing though. When I always think about this. Again, and I always throw this out there, and I know you guys might be tired of hearing this, but I come from a third world background where people ain't got shit. And I don't see levels of depression there like I see here. So, and I mean, maybe it could be maybe it could be a methodology thing, a data collection thing. They're not interviewing enough people or enough people aren't coming forward. But just to even think about the amount of people I've seen commit suicide or even heard about committing suicide within that community, it's usually, like, to be honest with you, a lot of the times the suicides happen because people are dealing with homosexuality, and it's just like a big no-no in the Jamaican community. But other than that, I just don't know. It's difficult in my mind to really conceptualize having all the means to take care of yourself and then saying fuck it anyway. You know what I mean? Like it's really difficult. Like if I've got, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I think being from that third world background, I think that I've always trying to see things from bigger picture. It's always about it's not just about being from here, but when you look at these let's say Jamaica, or you look at like some of the smaller African countries, there's no depression. And I think that it has a lot to do with society. It has a lot to do with our own expectations of ourselves based off what we're shown.
That's fair.
Or comparisons, or these, it just, that's the thing, man. I think once you disconnect, or once you're in a different place where those things don't matter, you get to just be, and you get to just be one with yourself and be happy with yourself. I do believe that depression does exist. However, I think there's a lot of mental, different situations that may exist, but I feel like the point of everybody coming out is saying, hey, this and that happened, but I did it, and you can too.
Right.
That's the entire point. It's not, oh, well, mine's different. We're all fucking humans. And the only reason people are putting themselves out on Front Street is saying, hey, I know what that feels like, and I push through it. And that's I feel like is the message. It's not, hey, well, look at Robin Williams. He's dead. He did it. Like, okay, that's what we don't want to do. That's somebody that maybe was to a point to where, he, at the time, he felt like that was right. There's nobody in his phone book that would agree with him, So it's not, of course, everybody's allowed to make a decision. He made a decision. It's a bad one, period. It's not something that I feel like should be glorified or be used to justify any thought process or behavior. I think that Robin Williams, he snapped or whatever for whatever reason, but I'm sure there's tons of people that wish he didn't. And that's the thing, man. All these people just gotta realize what they're here for. I mean, third world countries, people that come from those real fucked up backgrounds, and they're in America, even homeless on the street, they're grateful, and that's just like what I was talking about with gratitude. That has a lot to do with it, man. People are able to wake up, go to work, come home to who they love, and go to sleep, and that's not a good day. It has to be a good day. It has to be a good day. You feel me? So it's just all about, people in third world countries, they're just happy to find some people in Venezuela. Are you kidding me? They're killing.
Yeah, they're just happy to get some food right now.
But see, it's different. There, depression. they got it there, but I feel like it's justified. It's not just whether you have the means to get by or anything, but it's looking around, counting your blessings. That's where I think it starts, because depression, I feel like, comes from an area where you may be lacking or you feel like you don't have or you're without. But if you just open your eyes and look around, usually you got way more. If you're listening to this podcast, you should be all right. I mean, it's
to be fair,
in position to even hear this. You get what I'm saying?
And to be fair, and I don't want to be honest and open. I want to be honest and open, because I mean, like, me and Mark have had conversations. Like, I've definitely had my mental health issues, like very deep depression. Yeah, and I definitely and there's a lot of truth to what you said. Like my deepest depressed states always usually come from these heavy comparisons. Like, I'm not where I think I should be in life, or I don't think like I have what I should have in life. And then, like I just told you guys, like I came back from a funeral, and when you die and you're looking at the obituary that they have in there, they might have things in there about, where you went to school or what you did for a living and all this other stuff. But it's like the people who are there that showed up for you or who care that you're no longer here, that's not even part of the equation from them. They feel a loss that you're not like here anymore. And when they think about you, they think about all the times they had with you that have nothing to do with your social status or any of your money. I mean, I think that's a big part of a lot of this, because like I think like when people start really getting depressed about a lot of things, at least for me, I'm not going to speak for anyone else, but for me, it always comes back to this comparison mentality. Why don't I have this? Why don't I drive this car? Why don't I live in this place? Or why don't I have these things that are supposed to make my life adequate? And you're right, it does come back to being just happy with yourself. Like, I don't, like the conversation that we had about greatness and being good, like earlier in the week, and I keep coming back to it and keep thinking, I feel good about myself now because I fucking choose to feel good about myself now. I don't give a fuck, or I don't take the time to worry about what other people are going to think, because like the truth of the matter, people who don't give a fuck about you don't give a fuck about you, so you don't really have to sit around thinking about what they think about you. Because the people who care about you, you could be selling oranges. Like, you guys could both be selling oranges on the side of the street. It's not gonna reflect or change how I feel about you. It's not gonna make any difference in our friendship. It's not gonna make any difference in how we communicate. I mean, I will make jokes. I promise you, I will do that. But it's not gonna make me not wanna like have you guys in my life. You know what I mean?
Aww.
So. Oh, fuck you. This is why I don't say shit like this. Make me disgusted.
No, I definitely could, bro.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. But I agree. Like, I think, moments like this, I think, especially black men, I wanted to, like, touch on that a little bit, too, is I really want to see more black men be open about their feelings and their emotions. I know it's not part of, like, how we do. We're always playing these games of saying pause. That's like whatever. Like there should be no shame in saying like, look, man, I go through these things. I feel good that I'm supported by people. I like having a support system. I'm not playing this game of I go through life alone. I do it on my own. Fuck everybody. It's like, man, listen, ain't nobody ever done nothing on their own. I don't give a fuck what kind of lies they tell you. Even if you want to, use examples like a LeBron or a Michael Jordan or whoever, like these niggas don't do it by themselves. They don't become great without a support team, without good people on the court, without good coaches, without communities that are behind them to uplift them. So it's just kind of like, I think that's another thing that we really need to get better. That's the one thing I envy about women. Like, women are very good at having support systems for each other. Most niggas, like, I mean, I hate to say it, and I'm guilty of this too. I never call and check up on my friends and see how they're doing. It's like, until something bad happens, and even then, there's a lot of making fun. Like some dude told me like, my girl left me for the pool guy, and it's just like, well, he probably paid more attention to her. Maybe you should work on cleaning up the chlorine better. You know, like you make jokes like that. You can't. And we're awful. Men are fucking awful to each other. I don't know why, but we are.
Yeah, there's a reason why we don't express our feelings. Imagine if I call you one day and say, "Yo, what up, Dre? I was just thinking about you." Exactly.
Yeah. I openly want to say watching Dre evolve is amazing because I recall countless conversations growing up. I'd be talking to my big brother. Hey, Mark, love you, man. Love you too. All of a sudden you hear Dre, you niggas are gay. Every single every time. And we did every day. Every time he looked at us in pure disgust. Yeah, you niggas are gay. Now, I don't know about their feelings.
Yeah, to be fair, that's like part of my Jamaican upbringing. Anything affectionate is considered effeminate. I mean, like, yeah, like me and my brothers, we talk about that all the time, but I can count on like maybe one hand how much my father has hugged his kids, and there's 6 of us. So think about what I just said. I can count on one hand how many times
he had a full-time job. He was too busy working and hugging.
Yeah. I remember actually hugging you. I remember hugging you, saying I love you. Well, first I tried to, and you were like, "Don't fucking touch me." And then I grabbed
That's right. That sounds about right.
Shoved me off so... Yo, you was a karate nigga too, boy. That body slipped that way. You know what? We handshaking friends, okay?
Yeah. I mean, like, it's gotten better now. Like, I hug my brothers. Obviously, I hug my sister. I'm very affectionate. Like, I hug my nieces and nephews. It's a lot of work. You got to put in the work to kind of dismantle a lot of what this is. Like
this is gonna be hilarious when I see it. I'll be like, oh, I'm gonna hug.
On a very special Blerd is the new black.
I hate you guys so much.
Andre gets in touch with his feelings.
Come on and give me some.
I hate you niggas so much.
On a very
special
journey.
The hug line. Well, first,
this is why I don't like talking about my feelings, you motherfuckers. But I mean, like, but don't you feel like this? I don't know if that worked in the same way with you guys, because again, you had a more affectionate household. But yeah, I feel like now in my older age, there's a lot of things that we have to dismantle. I'm trying to be better at it. You're right. I was a very emotionally closed off because that's just the way I was raised. Like, again, like I said, I never hugged my dad like that. I don't know what that shit's about. But you have to take the time to be like, it's okay to show affection, like, because I do love these people. It's not like, they're strangers to me. It's just like, I don't know, the way I show love is like, yo, you hungry? I'll go get you some food. Or we can watch what you want to watch on TV. But I don't know how to do this whole thing of, hey, I love you because you exist, so let's embrace. The fuck? So, it takes time. I'm just saying, you grew up in a situation where you got to, look, you guys were ahead of the curve. I will give it to you. You guys were ahead of the curve, and if I had to choose the way I want to raise, if I have any sons, the way I want to raise my son to be more closely aligned to the way that you guys were raised, more so than the way that me and my brothers were raised. So, yeah, I get it, but it takes time to get to that. It's like, we're very closed off people, period. Again, everything,
bro.
Yeah. Like, please, it's like that. Yeah, because you understand, like, one very important fact. None of us get out of this shitty race alive. And while you're here, you better make the fucking best of it and tell people you care about that you care about them, because you don't know if you're going to always have that chance. Yeah. So, like, it's fucking real. Like, this weird, like, all right, let's move on from that depressing thing to something even more depressing. Let's talk about automation.
Y'all niggas done?
Yeah, just shut up.
He goes up to, he comes behind the door. You guys finished.
Y'all niggas up here stroking each other's backs and shit, and I'm just standing here waiting.
Here you go.
Waiting for you to get back to technology.
I hate you so much right now.
So we can make Mark on the next fucking podcast.
I know, right? Get rid of it. Let's replace it. All right, we have enough sound bites. We can just piece together his voice. Fuck you, Mark. We don't need you.
Build the algorithm for this nigga this year.
Yeah. But yeah. So we were having this conversation about automation. That we don't really have any articles to follow on this, but I thought it was a good conversation. Just thinking about where we're headed as far as employment. Like I personally am. I don't want to call myself a Luddite as much as, but I am very concerned about where we're headed as far as like technology is concerned. And I know that both of you have different perspectives on the subject.
Yeah, because we're talking on cell phones recording this shit. That's why.
At least we'll never know if we need it.
Was that your I'm going to show him moment? Fuck you. All right, fine. You want to play that?
I'm just saying, technology is great. Otherwise, we'd be sending carrier pigeons and shit.
But that's the thing. I think we played. I think we play this game of zero sum. I'm not saying that it has to be either technology or no technology. I mean, because if we're going to be real about it, the first technology happened when we figured out the written word. Once you can start writing shit down, that's when human civilization just changed completely. But you know, it's not just that technology in and of itself is bad. It's a tool like anything else. I think the problem is when you mix technology with the current system that we live in a capitalistic society where your labor is how you are valued in this society. So once we start creating technology that can do the labor of people, what value do you have if you no longer have your labor to trade? Like, what can you do? You don't intrinsically have value because you're a human being. You have as much value you have as much value to the society as you can provide or that you've amassed. So let's just say, like, we're all working at McDonald's, right? And now McDonald's has automated cooking, automated, like, retail, automated everything. How do you then, if you can't do that job, how do you then survive? Like, what do you do?
Go to Burger King?
I hate this motherfucker so goddamn much. You know what I meant, nigga.
No, but here's the thing. A lot of people say that, you know, fast food work is not a permanent job. So, see,
why
and here's the thing.
Be?
That's a very vague question to ask because there's so many conditions, there's so many variables that are dependent upon that. You could be some 18-year-old and, I just lost my job. Find another one. But if you're some, you know, retiree or disabled or whatever, I mean, shit might be a little harder for you. So there's a lot of variables to that question to just say, first of all of these everybody's job is not going to be everything.
Wait, can we rewind that back a little bit? All right, so you said if you're some 18-year-old and they replace your job, just go find another one. Doing what exactly? Because the idea is that it's not that McDonald's closed down because another conglomerate came around and is doing the job better. What has actually happened is the job of retail worker, period, is gone. So what is the other thing you do?
Well, if the job, that's different from just, they put a kiosk in a McDonald's. That's a completely different question.
No, it's the same exact thing, because I said that you can be replaced once your labor is no longer of value. Whatever I'm using McDonald's as the example because that was what we always heard as kids, right? Yeah, if you don't go to college, Walmart, if you don't do this, it
already happened at Walmart or anywhere where you go and have self-checkout. It already happened.
Right, and yeah, like I saw that. I went to the supermarket this morning, right? There's 8 rows of cashiers used to be, right? Now there is only one single cashier in there, and they have 6 automated systems up with one person overlooking, like they can be there to swipe a card in case something gets clogged up. So where there used to be 8,
for like
yeah,
or whatever.
Exactly. So where there used to be 8 jobs, there's now 2. So what happened to those other 6 people?
They probably got moved over to stock, maybe.
No, but they already had stock people. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's not like they create new jobs because these other ones have been replaced. I think that's the thing that we have to, be more focused on instead. Because I think we've lived in a time, we've lived in an era throughout our lifetimes. Yeah, when one thing gets replaced, there's something else to go to, or even if it's something that's not as good as what you came from before, there's something to go to. But when there is nothing to go to, then what?
Here's the thing.
That's why I think it's important just for people to think ahead. You know, you got to be ahead of the curve. And if you are 18, right, you know, you have to be thinking, okay, technology, of course, is moving everything forward. You have to be on these blogs. You have to be up here doing this work. Those are the people that are going to flourish. There may be other things that people can do to survive or just to make it, but if somebody right now takes $1,000 or $2,000 and buys Bitcoin, in 5 years they shouldn't even have to work, in my opinion. So I don't.
I agree. I mean,
it's all about being ahead of the curve. You know, you can't just do what you're doing today. Everybody today should be putting in some type of work for their tomorrows and not for the corporation they're with. You have to be building or working for something else. You can't just do your job and think that it's the company's job to remain innovative and keep you, you know, in high demand. You have to keep you in high demand, or try to.
Well, and I completely agree with you. But the thing is, like, you gotta, like, also remember how we've been conditioned, how we've been raised. Like, Chuck, you already have that mindset. Like, however you develop that mindset, whatever path in life got you there, it got you there. And you're lucky enough to be intelligent enough to utilize that. You gotta remember, like, the current system that we have, it's a lot of low-skill labor has been able to allow people to live and participate in the economy. Like for as long as we've been alive, or even as long as our parents have been alive, you've been able to just take your body, go to some factory, they tell you what to do, you do what they tell you to do, and you're able to make a living. Like, you don't have to have extensive training. Now we're getting into a space where everybody's supposed to be a freaking data scientist to survive. That's not going to work. What do you do with those people who can't do that? Like, some people just don't have the brain power or have the capacity to do those kind of things. So what happens to them? And we can't forget also that less people that are involved in the economy hurts everybody else. Like, if everybody else isn't earning, who do you service? Like, who do you sell your services to? Like, I can only be an accountant if there's people who have jobs and businesses that need my services. If a bunch of people ain't working anymore, then that hurts me too. I can't just be like, oh, well, I'll take my services elsewhere. To where? To who?
Oh, no. See, the thing is, me as an individual, only thing I can do is try to put myself in the best position as possible and let those around me know, hey, everything's changing. You might want to try to change with it. As far as what's going to happen to other jobs, I don't know. It's probably not going to be good because it's already happening. It's already happening. You know, it's not, oh, this might happen, or it's the elephant in the fucking room. I was talking to my mom. I said, Mom, when you go to the supermarket, you go to Walmart or anywhere. I said, let's say, last time you go to Walmart? The other day. Okay, what'd you get? I got, she told me what she got. I'm like, all right. So when you walked out, how many registers were open? There was 6. Okay. There was 3 girls. There was, like 3 registers, and there's like 3 of the automated ones. And I'm like, which one did you go to? To the automated one. Why? Because I ain't feel like being bothered, and then have an attitude. Like, exactly. Yeah. You just killed somebody's job. She's like, oh my God. Yeah, that's what it's just like, it was like she could not handle all of that at once, you know? So.
That was good.
You know what? I mean, Andre, as much as noble as it is, and I respect that, like, you know, you're concerned, but there's always an evolution to everything. And the reason why I say that, hold on now, don't get, oh my God, here we go. But
I didn't do anything. I'm listening to you. Go ahead, nigga. Jesus.
I like you. It may have been Aristotle. But think about this. Think about how many mail carriers and postal office workers were just replaced by every text message that you sent in the last 24 hours. There is an evolution to everything. And right now in kindergarten, kids are being taught on computers and how to use this. Shit is going to be integrated into curriculum. So there's always going to be some sort of jobs. The only thing is, right now we're in the technological age where, again, kids are using technology at a much, much younger age. And there's always going to be all these kiosks that are replacing these people. There's going to be, they're going to break down. There's going to be technicians or coders that are going to be needed. They are teaching coding in like grade school now. So I think that there's always going to be, like I said, some sort of an evolution. There's nobody. What happened to all the telephone guys? I mean, there's barely, we barely have landlines these days. There's an evolution for everything. And with that evolution comes jobs for that evolution because shit always breaks down.
Again,
feel bad for the New York Times if they lose money. Like, how long did you niggas think you was gonna print newspapers? I can't be mad. Right, go out of business. I know particularly.
You talk about conglomerates, and again, I hear what you guys are saying, but what I keep thinking about again, because I look at everything from the financial side, and I'm always thinking about people who are working. Yes, corporations might shift and all that, but I'm thinking about individuals. The thing that's made this country great, again, is the ability for an average person to just show up somewhere, get a week's worth of training, and be able to do a job that feeds them and keeps a roof over their head. I mean, it may be a lot harder now where a lot of people have to have 2 and 3 jobs, but again, you don't have to have extensive training in order to get that second or third job or the first job. Now we're talking about moving into an age where an average person, I'm not thinking about kids in school. I'm thinking about people who actually drive our economy, the people who are in their 30s to 40s and 50s who are still in the workforce who can't meet that learning curve. And if they fall out of the economic game, what happens to everybody else? We're interconnected. It's not like this, oh, too bad for that dumb motherfucker. No, that means that there's less customers for you to serve, meaning that there aren't going to be as many jobs. That means that you won't get paid as well. True. So it's kind of one of those things. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, because I think we're talking about tomorrow's technology with yesterday's economic system. And I think that's where there's a major gap that we're not filling here, because we're talking about technology moving everything forward with the same old financial system. I think that the way that we worry about having money to pay for bills and, having money as a resource to eat and have them, I think that whole concept and money being so scarce is going to be a thing of the past with this new financial system. So all this advancement that happens everywhere else, I see that translating into a different industry as well. You get what I'm saying? So this tomorrow we speak of, I think this is tomorrow we speak of, as far as from an AI perspective and how all the jobs are going to be gone. Hopefully, we're in a position where we don't need them. Not saying us as individuals, but I feel like even a lot of tokens and a lot of coins that are coming out, they're trying to have coins to where you can profit in different ways just by owning this. Like, for example, Power Ledger, just by having the solar panels on your house, you're making money. You get what I'm saying? If there's enough projects like that, you may be able to make money just by being involved in this digital economy that's happening, So I don't know. We can't worry because it might turn out good, but even if it doesn't, I'm gonna be good, and that's just the message I'm trying to get out.
No, that was actually very, I like where you went with that. That definitely adds a little bit of optimism to it. So, I totally agree. I would love to see it, turn to kind of like a universal basic income. I mean, that was the whole reason why I fell in love with cryptocurrency in the first place, was the idea that I can turn on my computer and it solves algorithms and it yields me money to live my life. I don't have to toil at some shit job that I don't want to be at to get the things necessary to lead my life. All that comes down to it is that the money I get, that I have to be responsible. I can't just splurge and be an asshole, but I don't have to give up precious time in order to get that money. So I'm with it. If that's where we're headed, fuck it, full steam ahead. I'm on board. I can't wait. But it's just
the only real answer. What else is that's gaining this much ground that was created literally to fix this problem? That's what it's for. So, the optimism, that's just it's kind of all we have, because if we continue with this financial system, just like if we continue with this education system that's been the same since my parents were in school, some industries just haven't made the change, and they're either going to make the change or they're not going to exist, and that's cool.
That was one to grow on, and I think that is a good place for us to end. I like that. We left it off with some optimism, because if I keep going, optimism. I can get, I can bring it back into the darkness. So you know what?
Living in famine. Like that.
Well, this was a great show. This is Blerd is New Black with your boy Dre.
Lid Harrington.
And Aristotle Jones. I'm not going to give you ladies all of that at the end. You feel me? You don't deserve it.
All right, guys. It was fun. We out.
All right, later.
Oh, my God.